In southwest Nigeria, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on Wednesday swore in new commissioners and special advisors. The swearing-in ceremony, which was attended or held rather at the Adeyemi Bero Auditorium, Alaosa Ikeja, signaled the inauguration of the governor's cabinet for his second term in office. News Central's Ni Omoni tells us more.
The inauguration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's cabinet for a second term in office was attended by political bigwigs from both the state and national level. After some deliberation since the appointment of the first three key cabinet members, which include the secretary to the state government, chief of staff and the deputy chief of staff, the Lagos State House of Assembly confirmed 38 nominees for Sanwo-Olu's cabinet. The final nominee, Tolani Akibu, was confirmed less than 24 hours before the swearing-in ceremony. Among the 38 commissioners and special advisors are Gbenga Omotosho, the former Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Professor Akin Abayomi, the former Commissioner for Health, and Ruth Abisola Olusoya, the former Agriculture counterpart. One after the other, they took the oath of office. However, one of the nominees, the former boss of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, Dolapo Fashawe, although confirmed by the House, was not sworn in due to absence. During the ceremony, Sanwo-Olu urged the newly appointed commissioners and special advisors to carry out their duties diligently.
You are representing Lagos State. You are not representing any local government or any ward. You are a cabinet member that ensures and sees Lagos State first as your constituency. And you must ensure that everything you do reflects the Lagosian in you first. And that is what we'll expect to see going forward.
He also took the opportunity to highlight the accomplishment of his first term and outline his plans for the next 4 years.
We have started by announcing the renaming of our governance agenda to the Teams Plus agenda. So there's a plus in the teams that we have. This is a recognition of the necessity at incorporating social inclusion, gender equality, and youth development into all of our programs.
As part of these plans, new ministries such as the Ministry for Industry, Trade and Investment have been created, and the education sector has now been divided into basic and tertiary for better focus. To facilitate a smooth transition, an executive retreat is scheduled to be held for 3 days. This retreat will bring together the state executives and permanent secretaries who have been managing affairs in the interim and will mark the official commencement of Sanwo-Olu's second term. Ni Omoni, reporting for News Central Lagos.
Joining us to discuss this interesting development in what is Nigeria's economic nerve center is Segun Shopito as a public affairs analyst. Segun, thank you very much for your time. The Lagos State Governor has finally, after the back and forth, sworn in 37 new commissioners and special advisors. Some would say this has finally put an end to weeks-long back and forth in the formation of his cabinet. He sent in 39 names before, he has 37. What does this portend for governance in Lagos State?
Well, I mean, it's a good thing that the political shenanigans have been resolved, right? Because that's all that was, and some of the backstories to that back and forth were really not very pleasant. So we're talking about things relating to religion and ethnic origins and stuff like that. And one would hope that Nigeria would find a way to move away from these types of considerations in our leadership selection processes and decision making. So it's a good thing that is out of the way, and one can only hope that the new team will deliver the much desperately needed governance, good governance, to the 20 million plus, some would say maybe even 25 million population of Lagos State. Lagos State is bigger than many African countries, bigger than many African countries combined. So the work that lies before this cabinet and the governor for his second term, and the opportunities that that exist within the state are both tremendous. So it's enough of politicking. It's time for governance. One would say.
interesting. Would you say the Lagos State House of Assembly did due diligence to the confirmation or in the confirmation of the new commissioners?
No, no, I wouldn't say so. You know, typically, whether at the federal level or at state level, these confirmation processes are basically rituals. They're to fulfill all righteousness processes that the assemblies generally just go through. In terms of the thoroughness with regards to determining the fitness of the nominees for the positions that they are being recommended to fill, the roles they're being recommended to play, that rarely ever happens. So what just happens is some sort of back and forth, tete-a-tete, and they laugh over, crack a few jokes, cite commendations, and all of that, because at the end of the day, they're all political colleagues in most of the cases. So in terms of thoroughness of the screening, I wouldn't say so. What happened with regards to the rejection of some of the nominees had absolutely nothing to do with the competence of those people. For example, I mean, imagine my shock to find that Professor Akin Abayomi was rejected. I mean, this is one public servant that one would argue has been exemplary, you know, in the cabinet of Mr. Sanwo-Olu in the discharge of his duties, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, you know, 2020, 2021. You know, this man was a professional through and through. And, you know, since then, I don't think I've heard any scandals or anything that would warrant, you know, his rejection by the you know, State House of Assembly. So to find that, you know, the Assembly rejected somebody like that would clearly indicate that there were things at play beyond competence and thoroughness in the screening process. So one can only hope that we'll move away from these types of politics as we move forward.
Let's do some agenda setting here. What task would you say lies ahead for these newly sworn-in commissioners?
Look, it's a big job. Like I said before, Lagos State is a huge state. Lagos State itself likes to tout the saying that Lagos is about the 5th largest economy in Africa, bigger than the economies of most African countries. And in terms of population as well, in spite of the very small landmass, Lagos State has a huge population, which presents its own specific challenges as well, because then you then have a population density problem. And this continues to increase as urban migration, rural urban migration towards Lagos continues to explode. You know, so if you take all of this, you know, together, juxtapose them, the traffic issues, the housing problems, the road management, infrastructure problems, the power problems, the fact that for the size of the population, the economy needs to be even bigger so that your per capita GDP in the state can edge towards a place where you would say the state is prosperous. This is far from the case. So the work you know, that lies ahead of the cabinet and the governor is tremendous, is humongous. The Commissioner for Transportation, for example, I would expect that we have heard the conversation around intermodal transportation incessantly since the time of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who's spoken about intermodal transportation, but we haven't seen any of that. So there's a lot, you know, on the table for this administration to do.
Quite interesting. Shegi Shopita, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.